squealing and then a loud bang. The sound of twisted a Corolla that was totaled and an SUV in a rig. For reasons I do not comprehend, they had crashed head-on. What struck me the most was that they had crashed at the very same spot I was about to cross with my bicycle. Needless to say, I would have been crushed between the two vehicles, and I would not have made it out alive. Now, going back to the subject of the old man, the next day, Friday the 5th of July, I returned to work. My boss looked pale and depressed. He seemed distant. Before I even say good morning, he tells me his father had passed away the day before. I ask him what did the old man die, and that's when things get strange. The old man had died a few minutes before I was about to cross that intersection. Coincidence? Maybe. Divine intervention? Well, I'd like to think so. After all, I wouldn't be alive if not for that voice that warned me about the upcoming danger. This experience taught me to always listen to that sixth sense gut feeling, butterflies in your stomach, whatever you want to call it. This feeling is always right, and thus you should listen to it. One day maybe it will even save your life. This man was a good person. Perhaps he was fond of me too, and decided that I was too young to perish. I live in Eastern Europe, more exactly in Romania. You may have heard about those gypsy witches that live in my country. Most of them are just pretending to be something they're not. This, however, is the story of a real witch. My grandmother used to live in the same village with a witch. I don't know if the witch was a gypsy or Romanian, but it doesn't really matter. She lived for so many years that no one knew her age. This woman claimed to be a witch, and she had also claimed that she had this demon who served her. She used to talk about the way she sold her soul one night in the forest while performing a ritual. In return, she gained powers and the help of a demon. She said that she couldn't die until she convinced someone to take full charge and responsibility of her duty as a witch and sell his or her soul to the darkness as well.
What if someone shot you?
She,
Will you die then?
3 daughters,
or what if someone shot you in the head?
That their mother's behavior scared them
I bet
away.
you die then.
They moved to
No
Bucharest
one is immortal.
and never returned to the village.
Even I'm not immortal.
Now, you will say that she was most likely a crazy old woman. But no.
Everyone
a lot
can
of people
die.
heard weird noises
Every
coming
sin
from
can
her
die.
attic, and she agreed that the sounds were made by her
So,
slave.
bitch please.
People,
If someone shot
even though
the witch
afraid,
in the head,
asked
or someone shot the fucking witch, will she die? Most likely. So, there you go.
her to solve their problems and gave her money for doing so. No one ever complained about her work. No one. Everything was put in place no matter how difficult the task was.
And a demon chosen a human?
In her yard
No.
and garden. Things that she
It'll be
wasn't
other way
able to do.
around.
My
Human
grandmother
chosen
met a
a
woman
demon.
on her way to work. The woman asked my grandmother,
Why would a demon serve us? You know what I mean? Why would a demon serve us? It'll be the other way around. Us serving the demon.
about the witch. She wanted to know where the witch lived. My grandma gave indications and then asked her why she was going to go see her. She said that a thief broke into her house and stole her savings, and she wanted her.
Let's go fucking order me a pizza
The
from
next day, my
Domino's.
grandmother met the woman again.
Yeah.
She carried a bag and a table when she returned home. The witch asked in advance for half the money. The woman agreed. It was better than nothing, and things happened exactly as the witch foretold. And she carried the promised money in the bag on the way to the witch's house. Another story is that a woman fell in love with a married man. She went to the witch and told her that she wanted that man. The witch asked her if she wanted the man no matter what the consequences were. She said yes, and in less than a month, his wife got ill and passed. He remarried, and he got married to the woman who asked for his wife to fall. That's why she was seen as a powerful and real witch. For sure, she had some supernatural powers. Unfortunately, I don't know if she's still alive. I am the youngest of 2 daughters. My sister Isabel being a year older than me, and we are polar opposites, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Isabel is a buxom version of my father, her body having developed quite early. Both of them are control freaks, who think that their word is law,
Knock, knock, knock.
and they should get away with whatever.
Let me pause at that. There might be the fucking pizza guy. Walk it back up. Yo, there's a pizza guy. Cool. Let's go up. Let's go here. Here you go. Thanks. Here's your money. Oh, go on. You too. Let's rock it. Rock it. Rock it. Let's eat. Let's go to the kitchen table. Dinner table. Let's eat. Let's go to outside. On the balcony, yo. And walk it back up. Press play.
Was also asked to do a
Another
blessing,
one, yo.
although none of them stopped the nightmares that plagued me after it. If only it worked. 3 months later, we were told that my mother had leukemia, and my world fell apart. It was also around the time that the second incident occurred, just after I had forgotten about the night terror I'd experienced. It was summer vacation, so we were allowed to sleep in. My parents left for my mother's checkup one morning around 8 a.m, and I was asleep on their bed, which is right next to the left. I heard someone saying, "Psst," from the foot of my parents' bed. I thought it was my older sister, so I didn't pay it any attention and tried to go back to sleep. Suddenly, I felt something change, and then an ominous, demonic growl sounded from the foot of the bed. I don't remember ever moving so fast in my preteen years. I threw the covers and scrambled onto the upper bunk where I found my older sister still sleeping. But my arrival jolted her awake. Before she could snap at me for waking her so suddenly, we heard the growling again, only this time it came from the spot on my parents' bed that I had just vacated. And we felt like something was glaring at us, even though it was broad daylight and there wasn't anyone else in the room but us. My sister and I huddled together under her blanket, and I could feel that whatever was there was watching us as we lay there the whole time. Since the bedroom door was on the other side of the room, there was no way that we could get out. When our parents came back from the hospital, they found us shaking, and we couldn't even speak. When we finally could talk, we told them what happened. It was obvious they believed us, and didn't leave us for the rest of the day. I remember clinging tightly to my mother for that whole week. And when my older sister and I managed to talk about what happened, she told me one of the things that had freaked her out about the encounter was how white my face was and how scared I'd looked, since I was always the braver one of the two. She said that the last time she had seen me look so scared was on the night that I had been chased into the bedroom by what she suspected was a demonic spirit. My mother succumbed to the leukemia that tore at her body during Christmas of that year, and in losing her, I lost the one person who had ever truly loved me. For the next story I wish to share with you, it's important to note that I am from the Philippines. I've had several paranormal experiences since I was a child, including the ones from earlier, although they are most limited to seeing figures out of the corner of my eye.
Boys, head to bed. Tomorrow is Saturday. See you guys in the morning. Gang gang. play.
Aren't there when I look, or the
Have
feeling
one
of
for
another
day.
presence with me, and knowing that I am not alone. Although there is an encounter where I saw a figure as clear as day in the wee hours of the morning that still haunts me. I was 16 years old this time, and spending the weekend with two of my cousins from my late mother's side, since my father was going to be working to fill in a co-worker who had taken a few days off due to his wife giving birth to a new child. I arrived at my aunt's house on a cloudy Friday evening that promised a heavy night of rain with some overnight clothes and my cousins, Erin and Will, aged 11 and 8 respectively. We were happy to see them, and after dinner I helped the housekeeper. We were all settled in for the night. I was given the guest room, overlooking the backyard that had a huge tree that bears a fruit that we call chico here in the Philippines. After a quick Google Translate, I learnt that it's called sapota, or may be known as mud apple or gooseberry. In any case, said tree overlooks the mini swimming pool that is directly below my window. Erin came to my room with her pillow, asking if she could sleep next to me. I was more than happy to oblige, since she was my favourite amongst all the cousins on my mother's side. Her little brother Will followed a few minutes later, asking if he could sleep in my room also. But I could sense that Erin had come into my room to get away from Will, since he was her parents' preferred child, and she often felt left out. Even without saying it, I knew Erin also asked to sleep in my room, since I was one of the few people who wasn't that fond of her brother, and I always preferred her company over his. I explained to Will that if he and Erin slept in my room, his mother would be alone, and that it would be really sad. He bought onto my reasoning and bid us all good night. Erin fell asleep beside me almost instantly while holding my hand, and after a few minutes of listening to her breathing, I too fell asleep, just as the rain started to fall, with the comforting pitter-patter outside the window. Some of the branches of the tree outside the window were long and thick, and I could clearly see a figure that looked like an 8-year-old boy, standing with one of his hands resting on the trunk, as if for balance. The funny thing is that the figure was completely black. I couldn't see any of its facial features. The only distinguishable detail I could make out, aside from what I described earlier, was the figure's short but somewhat unruly hair. Although I could see the figure's face, I could feel its eyes on me the entire time. I don't know why, but I wasn't scared, and my mind was completely blank. Probably because I was still sleepy, even though I knew that what I was looking at was real. After returning the figure's gaze for a full minute, I gave it a casual wave to say goodnight, and lay back down beside Erin. I fell asleep as soon as I closed my eyes. When I next opened them, I found that it was 7:30 in the morning, and everyone else was only just starting to stir. Remember the figure from 3 a.m.? I sat up slowly, careful not to wake Erin, and looked at the tree that was...
Let's pause it. Let's go camping, yo, for the weekend. Let's have a look. Okay, this week is a holiday. A whole holiday week. Cool. Let's go in here, grab my camping gear. Unlock it. Unlock the garage. Put it in the trunk. And just in case, lock it back up. Let's go grab me my gork. Just in case there's a mountain lion, you know, some shit like that. Here we are. Let's go. Unlock it. Lock it back up. Lock the fucking trunk. Unlock. I'll see you when I'm at the camping site. See you then. Well, here we are. The camping site. Park my car over here. You know? Park it. Walk it. Grab my camping gear. Grab my ride. Went in. Let's go down and set up camp. Let's go set up camp. There. Right here. I'll see you guys when I set up my camp, I guess. Here we are. Gang gang. Let's press play, yo.
Now bathed
How
in
bon.
sunlight. The figure was now gone. I didn't speak about the 3 a.m. encounter, since I knew that Erin specifically was terrified of ghosts. However, I told my father when he picked me up Sunday afternoon. He didn't say anything, but I could tell that it troubled him so. He told me to draw the curtains next time I was asked to sleep over, and I always closed the curtains at home. But since Erin had asked to leave them open when I slept there, I had obliged. What did you think the figure was? I know of these little dwarves/elves in Filipino folklore, along with some malevolent entities that my older sister and I simply refer to as plant people, since they can appear as plants or shapeshift into someone you know, only to snatch you away if you're close enough for them to grab you. When I was between the ages of 7 and 10, I lived in a house in a small town in Missouri. Nothing was abnormal about the house. I mean, normal house settling noises, which would cause me to have nightmares frequently, until this incident that I will begin diving into. The only weird thing that ever happened was our keys going missing. When you walk in the door, there was a giant metal wood stove that we put our keys on. They went missing for weeks. We destroyed the house looking for them, and one day they just reappeared and nobody knew where they came from. Anyway, there was a doll back when I was younger called an Amazing Grace doll. She had holes in her ears so she could hear.
Pause it. Head to the tent. Head to bed. See you guys in the morning. 7 in the morning, can't. Let's go to here. Press
And would
play.
turn her head where the noise came
Come on
from
for
and would
days.
say, "Mama." Well, I loved this doll. I explicitly remember cleaning my room and propping Grace against the wall so she was sitting up. I lay down on my bed to read when I heard the clicking she would make when her head turned. So I looked up and stared at her and got the normal "Mama" she would say after she heard something. So I tossed my book down and picked her up to make sure she was turned off. She was. I flipped her switch and then flipped it back to off, thinking that it was a normal malfunction. I set her back in a spot and plopped down to continue reading. When I started, she said "Mama" again. So I went and took all her batteries out. I was over it at this point, so I just tossed her on the ground and went back to my spot. She started clicking quicker, and her head was moving back and forth, and she just kept repeating "Mama." I took off. I ran to get my dad, and he saw it and decided that we would burn the little doll.